What's the deal with Bitcoin?
Number one, I said it on the show. Everyone who was calling for it to go to 85 or 80,000, it was not going to happen. There's a bunch of macro factors, like you said, government instability. Debt is at the highest that it's ever been in consumer and enterprise levels. Debt to GDP is high. Warren Buffett indicators at 200%. The value of the dollar, which has fallen so much this year. This is like, and everyone is having uncertainty in the employment market. It's the one asset that you can look at as a token, no pun intended, token of safety to get high returns in an incredibly pessimistic marketplace. And someone asked me this past weekend, BlackRock has an ETF, and Paul Tudor Jones parked a lot of money into the ETF, and why hasn't Vanguard done the same? The prices went up so much that even now Vanguard, I don't know if it's public, I think so. Vanguard is coming out with an ETF at either end of this year or top of next year because they don't want to miss out on servicing their clients properly and then potentially losing them to BlackRock. So this trend is not going away. I think the next target that we should hit is 130, 331 to the upside, and then probably by January or March of next year, we should be at 154, 516. But when the banks, institutions, governments, fund of funds are in an asset, now's not the time to short it. And you can argue that Bitcoin and AI are the only two things that are keeping the market up. So why are you shorting the asset that is driving the market higher? And I'm gonna be honest, respectfully, humbly. I know y'all out the country. I just came from back out of the country, so I'm in peaceful vibes. I Everyone doesn't have the same technicals. I'm gonna toot my horn. I'm one of the greatest ever to touch a chart. So if I'm telling you it's not, then this is Mike Novogratz. He told y'all 2020. Yo, you as a retail investor, you have hedge fund levels. We're nowhere near close going back to 85. If so, I'll be one of the first to call it. It's not going to happen anytime soon. If I made you money, please put yes in chat. And hell of a return from 20,000 when I called on everybody said, we're going to go there. Shouts Chris Johnson, gang, gang. But Bitcoin probably won't slow down for the next 2 to 3 months for sure, and stop shorting the assets that governments, institutions have their balance sheet tied to.
Yeah, I would say just be careful of they, because I feel like we've had these conversations. I think you had it at 140, I had it at like 137 by the end of the year when we had a prediction of where we saw it going. If you study, even if you study from a technical level, great. But like you said, be careful of they and where you get your information from. Just studying the halving cycle of Bitcoin and what it does the year before it halves, right, and the year after it halves. You can see that this wouldn't be the year. Even if you thought there would be a pullback that would be substantial, it wouldn't be in this year, which is the year after having, because it had last year in 2024. But all those factors that Shadi mentioned, all the factors that you're mentioning, is the reason why this is an asset class that you have to have, right? Like at this point, there isn't a disbelief that, hey, we're dropping that down to 30,000, 40,000. When you look at the institutional investment that has been put in it, we just read yesterday from JP Morgan. I'm like, JP Morgan? This is now your stance after all this time? This is now your stance? The ETFs that are coming online that have exposure to not just Bitcoin, but Ethereum. I actually just bought some shares in an ETF. Shout out to our investment team in EYLU. Austin, he's been on here before. Just a genius when it comes to it. We're looking at an unprecedented investment. Now, a lot of times we think, obviously, the U.S. economy, but from a global scale, right? Like this is the one asset class that everybody has access to. Most people can't trade U.S. equities, right? Because obviously, if you're from a different country, it becomes extremely difficult. I remember talking to our guys in Canada, like, yo, how y'all doing these options? How does this work? I'm like, you have a brokerage account? They were like, wait, how does that even work? And so when you think about that, what is the asset class that they can invest in from anywhere?
Yeah. And just to be very honest, long-term assets are not meant to be shorted. Like, I love The Big Short. Shout to Steve Eastman. Shout to Michael Burry. But that was a once in a lifetime trade. You would make a lot more money just holding things for the long period of time, 5 years, 10 years, opposed to looking to short it. Now's not the time. And then a key term, institutional adoption cycles. Even when it was at 65, I said it was going to 20. There was probably 60% less institutional involvement at that time versus what's there now. The final Infinity Stone is really just the Vatican investing into it. You have everybody else. You have Van Eck, you got Piper, you got BlackRock, Vanguard's coming on board. Now is not the time to say, well, I'm going to short Rome's the last Infinity Stone. It's over
Can they
with.
stop? And can we stop trolling? Can we just stop the trolling when it comes to like AMD runs up to a number? All right, time to short it. I'm like, can we?
It doesn't
just saying
work that
shit.
way. It doesn't work that way because what you're saying is my $50,000 or $100,000 into the short is going to overpower the 200 or 300 billion that hedge funds have to go long on this. And you're also battling algos, not just the ones on TradingView, but the ones that BlackRock have with Aladdin.
That's and you don't have the time, like the amount of time that you're going to put into these shorts. Like it just doesn't. Good luck though.